In this episode, I'm going to show you how to create really amazing looking nails. Let's zoom this image, as always we do at first, to have a better look on them. And what you can see in the first place is not this really nice looking reflections. So for sure we have to sort out the reflections. However, even though when we zoom this a bit more, we can see the texture actually. I don't know if we can call this texture, but everything around nails doesn't look really that great. So we have to retouch this at the first place, and then we have to even out. And of course, at the end, we have to create our reflections. The very important thing I have to say, it's not always happen, because I've seen a lot of pictures with really great nails. So if your model has really good nail, and when you get the picture to retouch and you see the nails are really looking well, you don't have to do all of this, because sometimes the nails have really great reflections, they have great texture, and on one thing we need to do is to retouch a bit around them, and that would be all. However, if you have quite rough nails, let's be honest, you have to do some work. So I'm going to prepare you for everything you can get in the future. What I need to do, I need to create new layer. I'm going to call this layer Nails Retouch. And let's start from the top one. I'm going to choose Clone Stamp tool. And at first place, I'm just going to retouch everything what's around and what I don't like on this image. So we have just a bit of the rough texture around here. So let's just retouch all of the bad things. In this nail, I don't have so many of spots I'd like to change. Just a few. A bit smaller over here. And okay, let's go to the next one. There will be much more work on the other ones. And actually, already this one has much more wrong texture. I thought I did something because I couldn't paint on it. And the very important thing, you don't have to be so perfect, because we're going to do a few more steps that are actually going to improve the nails even a bit more. But in this first step, the thing you have to be really focused is to sort out everything around, because the edges are not looking well. So that's something you have to take care of. So you can see we have some of the little shiny spots, so such a things are for retouch. You can spend a bit more time retouching everything around. And here finally we get to the nail with this really bad reflection. I don't need to retouch all of this, because anyway I'm going to sort this out a different way, but we have this shiny part over here as well, so it needs to be done some way. It won't be easy probably, so you have to zoom this a lot, because it's just between the skin and the nail, so it's not really easy challenge, especially if you don't do a stamp correctly, as I did. I need to work a bit more on it. As you could notice, I repeat my stamp a few times, because I think my pen is not working well anymore, or it's the fault of the tablet. Of course, close to the edges, be careful, make them really nice. Of course, you can retouch the skin, a bit more over here, the areas you missed actually. When we zoom this in, we can get some of the color from the nails on the skin. What I recommend, if you are a photographer as well, it's always really good to check such a things before shooting, because these things are always often, not always, are often missed, and these things are really important for your retouch. So you can always check the nails, you can always talk to the model a little bit before shooting to make sure that she's going to sort out the nails before shooting. It's just helpful. You can fix this, but it's always better when such a details are just done well before, because I probably said that before about retouch. The point is not to change everything, but the point is to leave as much as you can. So the more good things is on the skin, the more we are able to leave. And that's the point of beauty retouch, because not removing things is the point, but the point is to leave the things. Because the beauty of the woman, once again, is coming not from the things that retoucher is going to do, but from her own. So the more thing you can get before retouching, the more beauty you can get before retouching, the easier the first point is. Your work is going to get easier, but also the results of this retouch will be probably better. Decided to cover all of this here because it was taking too much time. Sometimes when I talk, of course, the work is getting a bit slower, but I want to explain you all of the parts of it. It will be alright for now. But also, there is other step that you can do on this same layer or create new layer. It's actually up to you. I'm going to choose brush tool in this case and just going to paint over the areas that was really difficult to paint using clone stamp tool. The effect might be not that natural as clone stamp tool. Actually, it is natural. This texture will be just a bit more even out, but anyway, the point is in this case we're going to even out the skin texture, the nail texture, not the skin texture, because of course on the skin I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do the thing I'm going to do on the nail. So find the areas you couldn't sort out by clone stamp and finish it nicely using a brush. Of course, to make it easier, there would be nothing wrong to do everything by just a brush. It's more about showing you all of the options you have. Okay, I believe it's done nicely. Maybe a bit more I'm going to try with clone stamp. It was nice over here. Okay, it's pretty much done for now. I have a bit too much nail over here, so let's zoom this out. And the thing you can notice right now, it doesn't look well. What I'm going to do, I don't want to cut out everything. I'm just going to create a stamp on the top. Alt, Control or Command, Shift and D. I'm going to call this blur. and I'm going to blur this out. Filter, blur, Gaussian blur. And quite soft blur, not really, in this case it will be around 5 pixels, I think. It looks alright. Not too much because it will be difficult for you later. I'm going to create a layer mask and of course invert this layer mask. And as you can very easily guess what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to choose the brush, white color of the brush, it's already set up, and paint around the nail. And what is happening, we get the natural shadows because the blur wasn't so strong, so even though the nail itself it's really even out, the natural shadows of the nail stays the same. So that makes the nail perfectly with the perfect texture. Of course you have to be close for the edges. I'm trying to speed up this work for the purpose of this course. It's not always working that way. And just keep in mind to be careful when we get close to the edges. Okay. And the last one, and there you go. And of course right now what you can see, it's just a color. It doesn't have life, it doesn't look so great as the real nails. So of course we have to create our reflections. And I'm going to show you just very simple but at the same point very powerful method to create the reflections, and the easiest one. I'm going to put these 3 layers into the group, Ctrl+Command+G, and I'm going to call this nails retouch. And above all, I'm going to create new layer. I'm going to call this reflection 1. And right now you have to listen carefully. I'm going to choose a brush. Let's find a kind of the brush. I'm going to choose this first default brush from Photoshop. It's not going to build up, it's quite strong, it works perfect for it. So you want soft brush, but not the made for yourself, because it will be too soft. So of course white color, but we need to see in which direction the reflection goes to not do any mistakes. I'm going to start from this. Now I'm going to make it smaller. One more here and here. I think it might be even too far. So right now it looks fine. And let's see. After all, I'm going to fix some areas over here, as you can see. And let's see, motion blur. The direction is not really that perfect, I see. And okay, it looks really great at this point. Let's hit OK. It's very soft though, so we need to do something to not make this so soft. I'm going to duplicate, Ctrl+Command+J to duplicate this, and our reflection is a bit stronger right now. I'm going to put these two to the group, Ctrl+Command+G. I'm going to call this group reflection 1 once again. Create layer mask. And with black color of the brush, I'm just going to clean the areas I don't want to see these reflections. So that's how it looks like. Of course, we could make it a bit more blurry if you want. If you can manipulate the shapes of the blur in the areas you really want. If it's if it's too thin, you can always add some Gaussian blur, etc. And as you can see, the results will be a bit different. So you can find your own personal preferences for it, for sure. Let's have a look if the direction is fine. Direction is perfect, as you can see. And okay, let's go to the second nail to create a reflection. And of course, I believe I don't have to tell you that you can duplicate this as many times as you need to make your perfect reflection, to get the desired look of the reflection really. So you can change the position, etc. to find the really perfect position. I believe it was really nice position before, or something like this. As you can see, it works really perfect. Let's go to the next nail. I'm going to create one more reflections, and then we're going to cut this video. So I do the rest on my own, but 2 examples I believe is enough practice. This one will be reflection 2. And once again, brush. I need to turn this off to see the direction. One over here, and a bit bigger, one over here, and one over here. Once again, filter, blur, motion blur. I hope I see this well. Hit OK. It's perfect. Of course, I want to duplicate this and put this into the group. Ctrl-Command-G. This will be reflection 2. Create layer mask, and with color black we remove whatever we don't want. So that's how it looks like. I just made 2 reflections. They look really nice. That's for me the best way how you can create the reflections. And right now I'm going to make 2 more reflections on these nails. But you know already everything. I believe this lesson was very useful. I really like this lesson. It's difficult, but it's worth it.